Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about a truly special game. As someone with over 15 years of experience in survival horror, immersive sim, and narrative-driven games, and after sinking thousands of hours into titles in these genres, I took an in-depth look at Ice Pick Lodge's third entry in the Pathologic series. Before writing this review, I played both the original 2005 Pathologic and 2019's Pathologic 2 from start to finish, because to truly evaluate a game, you need to understand the path it has taken, the evolution of the series, and the developer's vision. In addition, I am deeply familiar with the standards and expectations of this genre, having spent hundreds of hours playing other key representatives such as Disco Elysium, The Void, Darkwood, Soma, and The Forgotten City. And so, guided by this lighthouse beam, drawing on both my technical knowledge and an honest, critical perspective, I examined Pathologic 3 under the microscope for you. First of all, let me say this clearly. Pathologic 3 is one of the boldest, most unsettling, and most philosophically profound works the game industry has ever seen. But at the same time, with its technical issues, a design philosophy that deliberately challenges the player, and its extremely niche structure, it offers an experience that is definitely not for everyone. I played this game from start to finish as the character Daniil Dankovsky for approximately 38 hours, taking notes every second, running performance measurements, and analyzing design decisions throughout. Because one of the biggest secrets behind this channel's success is this: we never make a final evaluation without fully finishing a game, experiencing all of its mechanics, and reaching the end of its story. Let's begin by talking about story and narrative depth. Pathologic 3 tells the story of the plague outbreak we witnessed in the previous entries of the series, this time through the eyes of the Bachelor, Daniil Dankovsky. Dankovsky is a scientist, a rationalist, someone who believes in modernism and looks down on mysticism. By placing you in the role of this character, the game allows you to experience the conflict between scientific rationalism and local mysticism on a much more personal level. While in the first game you represented the steppes' traditional medicine as the Haruspex, or explored this world again through the Haruspex's perspective in the second game, now we are looking from the complete opposite viewpoint. And this narrative design is truly extraordinary. Every corner of the town, every NPC, every line of dialogue is filled with philosophical layers. There is an atmosphere nourished by Russian theatrical traditions, Dostoevsky's existentialism, and the social traumas of the Soviet era. This is not a simple escape the zombie outbreak game. This is a philosophical experience that questions the collapse of society, the limits of science, the relativity of morality, and the inevitability of death. The character writing is also incredibly deep. Dankovsky's arrogance, his unshakable faith in science, and his gradual unraveling are masterfully portrayed throughout the game. Each of the side characters has their own motivations, fears, and hidden agendas. You can never fully trust anyone, because everyone is hiding something, and everyone has their own plan for survival. And in the middle of this chaos, over the course of a 12-day period, you are trying both to stop the plague and to avoid losing your own moral compass. The dialogues are long, heavy, and philosophical, completely different from the short, sharp, action-oriented dialogues of modern AAA games. Sometimes you talk to a character for 15 minutes, and every sentence implies something. Every metaphor points to a deeper truth. Now let's move on to gameplay mechanics and survival systems. Friends, I need to be very honest here. Pathologic 3's survival mechanics are deliberately ruthless, and this game can be difficult to play for many players, sometimes even feeling like torture. There are 5 core parameters you must constantly manage: hunger, thirst, fatigue, infection, and health. And finding resources is nearly impossible because the town is on the brink of collapse due to the plague outbreak. You wander around for hours just to find bread, and when you do, it's sold at astronomical prices. Even water becomes a luxury resource. Finding medicine is a complete nightmare because you are also a doctor, and patients are constantly expecting help from you. Every medicine you use to save one person may mean the death of another. And we know that these mechanics are intentionally designed to be this punishing, because Ice Pick Lodge wants to push the player into an existential crisis, rather than provide comfort. This game asks you, when everyone is dying, who will you save? When science reaches its limits, will you still cling to your rationality? Will you compromise your morals in order to survive? And these questions are not embedded only in the dialogues, but also directly into the gameplay mechanics. For example, you can steal food from a house, but the owner of that house is a woman with a child. If you take that food, the child will go hungry. So what will you do?
The game constantly confronts you with choices like these, and no choice is truly good or evil. They all exist in shades of gray, and all of them require you to sacrifice something.
However, this is where we arrive at the point where I need to be critical. This level of difficulty and oppressive atmosphere may be perceived as artistic depth by some players, but as unnecessary torture by others. And Icepick Lodge makes no compromises on this front. There are almost no accessibility options, the difficulty level cannot be adjusted, the game demands total commitment from you, and in return, it wears you down emotionally. I have played thousands of hours of hardcore survival games, the Long Dark, Green Hell, the hardcore modes of Subnautica, but Pathologic 3's difficulty operates on a different level, because this difficulty is not only mechanical, but psychological. A constant sense of inadequacy, a constant fear of failure, constant death and loss. This is not for everyone, and the game needs to admit that openly. Now let's talk about technical performance, because there are serious issues here, and we can't ignore them. I played this game on an RTX 4070 Ti graphics card with an AMD Ryzen 7 7800X3D processor and 32 GB of RAM, so one of the most powerful systems currently on the market. And at 1440p resolution on maximum settings, I'm getting an average of 55 to 65 FPS. That might sound acceptable, but here's the problem. When you enter crowded areas of the town, especially the central square or the market, the FPS suddenly drops to 35 to 40. These sudden drops seriously disrupt gameplay and are deadly for an immersive experience. Even worse, there is a shader compilation stuttering issue. During the first 2 to 3 hours of the game, you experience 1 to 2 second freezes every time you enter a new scene or when a new effect appears on screen. This is one of the biggest problems of modern PC games, and unfortunately, Pathologic 3 is not immune to it. They are using Unreal Engine 5, but in terms of optimization, the performance is far below the engine's potential. Loading times are also quite long, even on an SSD. You wait 20 to 30 seconds during transitions between areas. Since this is an indie game, we can show some understanding toward these issues, but when considered alongside the $40 price tag, these technical flaws become unacceptable. I also need to mention some bugs. I encountered issues like quest markers disappearing, NPCs sometimes not responding to dialogues, and items in the inventory occasionally becoming invisible. None of these were game-breaking, but they do break immersion. And when a game is so focused on atmosphere and narrative depth, technical problems seriously damage that experience.
Speaking of graphics quality, the art direction is truly outstanding. Every corner of the town carries a unique character. The vastness of the steppe, the town's maze-like streets, the strange architecture of the buildings, all of it gives you the feeling that you are in another world. However, technically, the graphics are slightly behind 2025 standards. Texture quality is average, character models sometimes look plastic, and there are some inconsistencies in the lighting system. Yet the artistic vision is so strong that these technical shortcomings hardly stand out. When it comes to sound design and music, the game truly shines. The ambient soundscape is incredibly impressive. The sound of the wind, distant screams, whispers rising from the dark corners of the town. The music is inspired by Russian folk tunes and avant-garde compositions, perfectly complementing the atmosphere. The sound director has done an exceptional job. Now, let's compare this game with other titles in its genre, because a game should be evaluated within its context, not in isolation. Compared to Disco Elysium, Disco is more accessible, more humorous, and has richer dialogue tree mechanics. But Pathologic 3 goes much further in philosophical depth and in unsettling the player. Disco makes you think, Pathologic makes you uncomfortable. Compared to The Forgotten City is more puzzle-focused and a shorter experience. Pathologic, on the other hand, is long, exhausting, and emotionally draining. Compared to Darkwood, both share a survival horror atmosphere, but Darkwood is more mechanics-focused, while Pathologic is more narrative-focused. Compared to the previous games in the series, Pathologic 3 tries to combine the philosophical depth of the original game with the improved mechanics of Pathologic 2. However, due to technical issues and some design decisions, it doesn't deliver as sharp an experience as Pathologic 2. The Haruspeck's narrative in the second game felt more personal and emotionally impactful to me. Dankovsky's narrative is more intellectual, but less empathetic. The game's replayability is quite high because you can make different choices and see different outcomes. However, after my first 38-hour playthrough, I honestly didn't feel like playing it again right away because it was such an emotionally draining experience. Maybe in a few months I'll return to it with a different perspective. In terms of price to performance, $40 is quite steep. There are 38 hours of content, but most of those hours are stressful and exhausting. In modern AAA games, you get 60-70 hours of fun content. Here, you get 38 hours of painful content. For me, the experience was worth the price, because I love this type of game. But for the general player base, I would suggest a price around $25-30. In conclusion, on one side of this delicate scale, we have a unique artistic vision, an unforgettable narrative experience, philosophical depth, and the courage to push the boundaries of game design. On the other side, there are serious technical optimization issues, a difficulty level that caters to a very niche audience, a high entry barrier, and some controversial design decisions. If you enjoy narrative-focused games with philosophical depth that challenge you emotionally and intellectually, if you can overlook the technical flaws, and if you are ready for a long, slow, and oppressive experience, Pathologic 3 is definitely a game you need to experience. For me, I would rate this game 7.5 out of 10. If I break it down, 9.5 for artistic vision and narrative, 5 for technical performance, 7 for gameplay mechanics, and 6 for accessibility. That averages out to 7.5. But I should add, such scores aren't really fair for this game, because Pathologic 3 is not a game meant to be measured by traditional metrics. It is an experience, a work of art, a manifesto, and if you are open to this kind of experience, it will be a game you will never forget. But I definitely do not recommend it to friends looking for a casual experience or playing games to relax. And please, wait for technical optimization patches, because in its current state, the performance is unacceptable. I hope this review has been helpful. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more honest, in-depth reviews. See you in the next video, and take care.